with danger and with daring rights. To the hilt we take you there, where courage meets
Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Hello.
Today we're plunging into the really extraordinary story of Baron Bill Unks, a man who spent, 5 decades? Swallowing swords.
Yeah, 50 years. From 1947 right through to 1997. Circuses, sideshows, that whole world.
It's incredible longevity in such a, demanding profession.
Absolutely. And for this deep dive, we've looked into his chapter in To The Hilt, A Sword Swallower's History of Sword Swallowing. Great book.
Right. By Dan Meyer and Mark Hartzman.
And also info from the Sword Swallowers Association International, their Hall of Fame site.
Okay, so good sources. And the goal here isn't just like dates and places, is it?
No, not at all. We really want to understand the dedication, the unique world he was part of, and, some of the surprising connections in his career, too.
Okay, let's get into it. Baron Bill Unks. That title alone, the Baron, kind of sets the scene.
It does, doesn't it? Gives him a bit of flair.
Born 1923, started swallowing swords, maybe age 24, though sometimes he said 18.
Yeah, there's a little ambiguity there, which, isn't uncommon in show history sometimes. But around his mid-20s seems the most likely.
What really jumps out at me is his attitude. He apparently said anyone could do it if he really wanted to.
Huh. Yeah, easy for him to say, right?
Right. But it suggests maybe a certain mindset. Like it's more about will than anything else.
I think so. It points to that immense self-belief, that mental strength you see in people who do these kinds of extreme things. It's not just physical skill.
And his technique? He'd apparently remove a tiny bit of the point.
Just a fraction, yeah. Purely for appearance, to make it look sharper, more dangerous.
But he was meticulous about safety, wasn't he? The silk stocking thing.
Oh, yeah. Always check the blade with the silk stocking, feeling for any tiny nick or burr that could cause, serious injury.
That detail really brings home the reality behind the spectacle.
Mm-hmm. And he knew the importance of that spectacle. He said, if you're going to swallow something, do it. Make it look dangerous.
He understood showmanship?
Absolutely. Master of perception. Maximize the drama, but minimize the actual immediate risk through preparation. That's the art, really.
So how did he even get into this? It wasn't his first career, was it? He was in the Army.
That's right, U.S. Army veteran. And then, this is quite a shift. He gets into carnival life in 1945, Oakland, California.
Doing what?
As a fire eater. And apparently with zero experience beforehand.
Just decided to eat fire.
Oh.
Wow, that takes something.
It really does. Speaks to maybe an adventurous streak, drawn to that unconventional life. And then he loved the crowds, didn't he?
Yeah, he had that great quote about the crowds.
Uh-huh. In a carnival, you see more characters in front of the stage than you do on it.
Huh. That perfectly paints the picture, doesn't it?
It really does. But he wasn't naive about the risks. He'd seen a fire eater get badly burned. He knew it was genuinely dangerous stuff.
So fire eating first. Then, January 1959, he's with amazing Vantine Circus of the Fantastic, still as a fire eater.
Right. And it's around then, still in Oakland, he claims he taught himself sword swallowing.
Taught himself. Okay.
Yeah.
That seems fast.
It does seem very fast. Because by June of that same year, 1959, there's a Billboard article that mentions him.
Already?
Yeah, performing both fire eating and sword swallowing. With Vantine and Lee Collins' Sideshow.
So he picked it up incredibly quickly.
Yeah.
Or maybe he'd been practicing longer than he let on.
Could be. Either way, it shows a really rapid development of this, very niche skill. He worked with Capel Brothers later that year, too, and kept working with Vantine and Lee into the 60s. He was making his way.
And this is where the story connects with someone really iconic.
Yes, Schlitzie.
Schlitzie the Pinhead, a name many might know from the movie Freaks.
Mm-hmm. Or as the inspiration for Zippy the Pinhead in the comics. A true sideshow legend.
And Unks actually worked with Schlitzie's guardian, George Surtees, back in 61, 62.
That's the initial connection, yeah. Schlitzie was, by all accounts, just deeply beloved in the sideshow world. Despite his condition, microcephaly, he had this real warmth, this connection.
It says a lot about that community, doesn't it?
It really does. Acceptance, camaraderie, it was a unique environment.
But the Unks-Schlitzie connection gets much more significant later on, right? This is a really touching part of the story.
It is. So jump forward to the mid-60s off-season. Unksy is working kind of a normal job as a hospital orderly in L.A.
Okay.
And who does he find admitted to the hospital? Schlitzie. George Surtees had passed away, and Schlitzie had ended up institutionalized.
Oh, wow. Just by chance.
Seems like it. Unks recognized him immediately. And understanding, how much Schlitzie needed that show world, that affection, he did something pretty amazing.
What did he do?
He contacted another showman, Sam Alexander, explained the situation.
And Alexander stepped up.
Immediately took over Schlitzie's care, got him out of the hospital. There's this note from the state psychiatrist involved.
Yeah.
Saying Schlitzie likely wouldn't have lasted long in an institution, that he needed the, quote, love of show people to thrive.
That's incredibly powerful. It really
Yeah.
shows that bond, that sense of responsibility they had for each other.
Absolutely. It wasn't just colleagues. It was a kind of family. Unks played a crucial role in basically saving Schlitzie from that fate.
And Schlitzie went back to performing.
He did. Unks helped get him back on the circuit in '67. He found his way back to his community. Sadly, Schlitzie passed away a few years later in 1971.
It's a really poignant story. Shows the humanity behind the freaks label that was often used back then.
Mm-hmm. These were real people forming real bonds, looking out for each other in ways maybe the outside world didn't always see.
Okay, so let's circle back to Unks himself. By 1972, he's got the name The Baron, working with Clyde Beatty Cole Brothers Circus.
Yep, the title stuck. He became a fixture working with various shows through the 70s and 80s. Hoxie Brothers, Bobby Reynolds Sideshow.
He was established, and then there's that famous TV appearance trying to teach Penn Jillette.
Ah, yes. On Penn and Teller Go Public in 1985. That clip is, well, it's something.
It really highlights how hard it actually is, doesn't it?
Mm.
Penn, who's no stranger to weird stunts, could barely gag it down.
Exactly. It shows you that gag reflex is strong. Overcoming it takes incredible control, rewiring your body's instincts.
And Unks just pops it down, smooth as anything.
And then casually mentions doing, 12 shows a day? 5 blades per show. The sheer repetition and mastery is mind-boggling.
Astonishing. And apparently, later on, he developed an act doing it sitting down.
Yeah, which adds another layer of difficulty, potentially. Different posture, different muscle control needed. It just reinforced his reputation for being incredibly smooth.
Penn Jillette said, "I've never seen anybody do sword swallowing smoother." High praise from him.
Definitely. It shows Unks kept refining his craft even late in his career. Deep understanding of the mechanics of his own body.
So he retires, roughly early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't quite stay away, does he?
No, he gets drawn back in. Goes to Coney Island, 1993-94, specifically to train a young fire eater, guy named Frank Hartman.
He became a mentor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Hartman's memories are great. Says Unks started him off learning with a fly swatter handle.
A fly swatter.
Apparently. Then quickly moved him onto a bayonet. Bit of a jump.
That's one way to learn. What did Hartman say Unks was like as a person?
Described him as sweet, patient, soft-spoken, had a good sense of humor. It's a nice contrast to the dangerous act, isn't it?
Yeah, it rounds out the picture. Calm confidence, maybe. Oh, and Bobby Reynolds called him Gay Blade.
That was his nickname. Yeah. Adds another little interesting facet to him.
So Baron Bill Unks passed away March 12th, 1997. He was 73.
Mm-hmm. And he's buried with his wife, Virginia, or Jean, who passed a few years after him. End of an era, in many ways.
But his legacy lives on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Through people he mentored.
For sure. Performers like Hartman carried on those skills, those traditions, and his place in the Sword Swallowers Association Hall of Fame. That's significant.
That's the top honor in that world, isn't it?
It really is. It cements his contribution, ensures he's remembered by the community he was such a big part of.
So if you listening are intrigued by all this, where can people find out more?
Well, the Sword Swallowers Association website, swordswallow.com, is definitely the place to go. They have info, history, the To The Hilt podcasts.
Right. And that book we mentioned earlier, To The Hilt, A Sword Swallower's History of Sword Swallowing.
Exactly. By Dan Meyer and Mark Hartzman. It gives you the really deep history, puts Unks into that larger context. Available pretty much everywhere you get books.
So, looking back at Baron Bill Unks, Army vet, fire eater, legendary sword swallower, mentor, friend to Schlitzie. It's quite a life.
It really is a testament to, well, sheer dedication, mastering something incredibly difficult and dangerous, and it shines a light on that whole sideshow world, the community aspect.
Yeah, that part really stands out. The support system, the kindness, like with Schlitzie's, maybe not the first thing you think of with sideshows.
No, probably not, but it was clearly there.
So here's a thought to leave you with. In today's world, with so much spectacle being digital or, easily faked, what other incredible, maybe slightly hidden feats of pure human skill and dedication are out there?
What other barons are quietly mastering the seemingly impossible just under the radar? Worth thinking about.
Legends born in every test. Through history's winding path, crafted with an iron grasp. Voices from a world long past, echoing the feats they clasp.